I just wanted to take the time to celebrate a little bit for this video and talk about the big elephant in the room. CypherPK, one of, if not the largest Fortnite content creator, came out and talked about issues with the game. You might have noticed in the thumbnail that I included all 3 videos that I've posted, basically like a trilogy of stuff where I've talked about issues with Fortnite. Now, I've obviously talked about other stuff before in some other videos, but those are the main 3. And now some stuff has been worked on since those videos were released, but the one thing I wanted to jump into right away is this. I was always right about Epic adding too much to the game. I had people screenshot my content, post it on Twitter, try and say that, oh, you need to make up your mind. People resulted in just defending Fortnite instead of actually trying to understand what I was saying. I still will get comments from time to time of people saying, oh, this aged like milk, mostly on my first video. And I do not retract, nor will I ever retract anything I said in that video. The only thing I'll go back on is saying that Lil Loot Lake should have been bigger for the reload map. That would be a little bit too big for that map. Now that we've obviously played it for several months and it isn't the first month that it's out or whatever, it's a good thing that there's not a complete ocean in the smallest map to be created. But before I forget, Cypher talked about a lot of stuff. He addressed his prior video that was, memed to all high hell. He talked about the lack of new ideas and the real issues with the game at the moment. The main thing is he pointed out that Epic was terrible when it came to the Metaverse modes. Now that's not what he said, that's what I'm saying and more or less elaborating on. He talked about Ballistic and Lego not being that good. He did also talk about bot lobbies, but I will save my thoughts for that on another video. I have that planned. Cypher actually pointed out the problems and no one can debate it because it was a factual statement. Bots are not fun to play against. Epic does not give 2 flying fucks for their other game modes, regardless of how much time they put into it beforehand. They do not put much effort into updates in the sense of we get a bunch of copy and paste content. Altogether, a lot of these things are not enjoyable. Whenever I bring up issues with the game, sometimes people like to rebuttal with, well, Fortnite still gets constant updates all the time, or it's one of the best in the business, or something to try and sweep any issues under the rug. And I don't disagree that Fortnite, in comparison to what other games are doing, is light years better, but don't you think that comes down to funding? If you gave a studio $32 billion, it doesn't even need to be $32 billion, you could do half of that, you could do $100 million, it doesn't matter. Any company having that much money just from microtransactions alone, you wouldn't think they'll just stop doing, anything. They'll press on the gas. They'll keep going and making as much content as possible for the game. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it just a little bit, at least a little bit. A company that already knows what they want to do. They have this sort of plan. It's going to be sped up just by the fact that they're making a little bit more money. They can then get more devs. The money would just propel them forward for their studio. Okay. I won't go, too much into that because that's kind of obvious. In my 2 videos talking about Epic being lazy, some people try to protect the devs as if they can do no wrong. The devs are developers, okay, in case you don't know what that means. These are the people that work on the game. These are the people that decide to reuse stuff for seasons. I do not believe that even for a second, any higher up or suit would think of an idea like, well, you guys should unvault the explosive repeater rifle. People loved that last time, right? Or, let's unvault a handful of shit weapons known as the lever action weapons and the flapjack rifle. I firmly believe that this is purely up to the devs. I understand spicing up gameplay. I understand wanting to keep the gameplay fresh. I don't mind unvaults in reload as much since they typically and intentionally will keep weapons like the pump in the game. But for the main battle royale, chapter 6 right now, or just as time has gone on, someone like Leo and even Cypher admit that a lot of the ideas around weapons are just reused and not clever anymore. That idea or narrative of reusing stuff continues or is very noticeable when you unvault and reuse items for the first half of a season. The drill is the rocket ram. It's upgraded, but it's still just the rocket ram. We have the mammoth pistol, again, a sniper that is exactly like the sniper from chapter 3, and the sticky grenade launcher with nothing new to it. These devs make bad choices, and whoever gives the go-ahead is just as bad. They thought it would be smart to make it harder to find a meta item like the jetpack during Absolute Doom, when it was a necessity necessity to have it. You needed to have it, otherwise you would lose most fights. It was only fun to play that season when Halloween came around because I think it was probably a bug or something. I don't know, but they vaulted it. They took it out the game, and the chainsaw made up for what actual movement should be like. Now, yeah, the chainsaw was a little bit broken, and that was in builds, but there was still workarounds to that. The jetpack was not balanced. Also, something to bring up again, kind of just to harp on it, is the Godzilla event. It included a shard crystal. That was basically just the 0-point shard crystals again. The quad burst launcher, nothing was changed with that. And a medallion that was an exact carbon copy of the medallion from Chapter 5 Season 2. They should have just done nothing with the damage threshold, but instead they did, and didn't know what to give as a reward for it, so they just threw some stuff in. Personally, I think Fortnite is heading in an alright direction, okay? As long as they fix their mistakes, as they keep going. They just kind of work on some stuff and, you know, they'll be set. Oh, what? What's this here? Leaks are saying that there are potentially going to be 2 more Metaverse modes. You guys never fucking learn. I hope to be proven wrong. I genuinely do, but I bet that Epic is going to release these 2 modes in a very interesting state, but it's going to be very boring very quickly. You will have fun for maybe 2 hours, maybe more, and then you'll swap off of it and never have a care in the world to play it again. My video about Epic adding too much talked a good bit about Ballistic. To rephrase it, or just kind of say it again, I don't know. Ballistic launched as a template game mode. It was given bare necessities to exist and was left in the dust. Just because it says early access means literally nothing. Early access was put on Fortnite for like 3 years. We received LTMs, new items, weapons, vehicles, just literally anything. We were getting updates all the time. And you're telling me that they can't make another map already for Ballistic? They are working on one and it's gonna appear soon, but they did say that new maps will be released with like less decoration and all that. It'll kind of be even more bare bones than what the game already is. And to be honest, why don't you just let someone else make it? Back when Creative first came out, the amount of people that created Search and Destroy was insane. There was a bunch of maps, and it wasn't like just copying Nuketown. It was original ideas. They weren't memorable. I can't show you anything of them, but I knew that they existed. And this would be a perfect way to get the community bumping again. Do it every 3 weeks. Just add a new map that is made by someone, you know, like someone with a creator code, and have it be tested by the Epic devs, and then ship it out. This gives you guys more time to work on the cool shit that we want, like weapons and, you know, just items and stuff. We need that Fortnite feel for something like Ballistic. It legitimately just looks like everything else we've already had before. If we had mini storm flips, stink bombs, potentially new traps or something, weapons from Save the World that have a different design or different feel or something, just reuse. You can reusing assets in that way is not a bad thing. You do it in a good way that has good direction, and no one's going to complain. A little bit of a hot take, but Ballistic should not just be forced into Search and Destroy, which is what the mode is basically like CSGO and Valorant. It still has time to work around this. They could do this technically, but they don't have to. It's an idea and a hot take. It should just be about first-person shooters, respawn game modes, you know, domination, team deathmatch, free-for-all, all of that sort of stuff. It would work. I'm not saying copy Call of Duty, but copy Call of Duty and do it in your own way. Add kill streaks. Make it so that junk rifts fall from the sky instead of a nuke. Don't just rip off all of the basic shit about other games. Do something that makes it feel like Fortnite. Oh, look right here. They updated the mode a little bit ago. Oh, you guys just changed the values on a spreadsheet to make it look like you're doing something. But Ben, they added a new gun. Okay, this is a new gun after months, and it's also broken. The thing that immediately comes to mind in regards to Epic not doing enough with all their modes, like creating Ballistic and not doing enough shit for the game, it's a very big chance that Epic just doesn't have enough dedicated dev teams or just enough people, period, for all of these separate modes that they're creating. And I would honestly shoot out a big assumption here. They probably don't hire more people because the big higher up people that are at the top don't get as much of a bonus, because that is a thing. Epic obviously did let go of a good amount of people a couple of years ago, and we felt those effects at the start of Chapter 5, continuing through it and going through the rest of stuff. They've picked up. I will say that they have picked up. I'm not gonna lie and just hate for the sake of hating. I just hit my mic. I'm not going to make anything up to you guys. I'm honest, okay? I'm genuinely just being honest. Genuinely, honestly, whatever big word I want to put that has Lee at the end of it. This game is fun and can be fun when they give good amount of time and work and whatever into it and money. I don't care. And it is very clear that it's ramped up in terms of quality. And I'm happy for that. But that does not mean that they can just start slacking or anything. The whole idea is to continue to improve and make stuff better. Fortnite has lost its art style. It doesn't seem really the same of what it used to be. Chapter 1 to 2, that seems to be its own genre almost. The originality of the game. It's become a shell of its former self. Just because graphics look pretty doesn't mean the game is better. As someone that played Lego in the first month it was released, I played with, you know, a max lobby with friends. I played a little bit of rocket racing, not that much, but I did play enough. And I can go pretty hard on Festival. I'm not bad at it. I find no point in playing Ballistic. There's just no reason to play it. Honestly, ranked is kind of dumb and people leave the game a lot of the time, and there's only ranked. That's another thing. But all of these modes are not inherently terrible. The way that they have been handled or are being handled is the thing that people need to realize is the issue. Lego is pretty much set. I think it's basically like Minecraft with having an ending, and the content that they add from now on can be somewhat slower. And it has its own path, so people can, you know, work on that, I guess. I don't know. And you can get free rewards, but genuinely, there's no reason to make people spend $25. Oh, motherfucker. There's no reason to make people spend $25 on a Lego set. Potentially just make it so that you can earn it within the game mode and people will feel happy about that. Or just make the Lego sets cheaper. $2, $1, $3. That's possible. I don't think people realize that. It can be cheap. They just don't want it to be. And for Festival, it has FOMO. It's stupid. And to explain the tweet that I'll probably have on the screen, what they did was instead of just having a long list of every single song that they possibly could have, they added in a shop rotation, which a rotation implies that some things are in, some things are out, and there's a chance that something that you want might not be in for a while. FOMO takes advantage of people that are not like they're not strong-willed or anything. They are willing to just put as much money into it as possible, and they'll come up with an excuse of saying that people are broke if they don't want to spend that money or whatever. It's genuinely pathetic. But the mode now is in a really good state, okay? Besides the FOMO. So I would say that it was doing very well and it is set, but it's kind of like a 2 steps forward, 500 fucking steps back. So that's a big L for Festival. And you know, for rocket racing, they can change it. They can absolutely start working on it again and not just cut off everything like how they did and give more purpose to it. Have, you know, some Mario Kart type of thing. You could do that. That's more than possible. People have come up with ideas like that. If people can think of ideas for the game, that means Epic can do it. Realistically, genuinely, that's the whole point of being a dev. I don't know how to do it. They know how to. We could get more racing tracks, like stuff that has to do with Fortnite, not just random places. So you could drive through tilted towers. And before, I know someone's going to comment right now, Ben, there's no way to travel through tilted. It's too small. The cars are too fat. I'm not talking about the actual tilted towers. I'm talking about making a track with inspiration from tilted, okay? But regardless, I do hope Fortnite gets better. Recently, we got 2 new heroes in Save the World, and I think some other stuff was updated alongside that and has been getting a little bit of updates. I'm very happy for that. Everything else regarding the other modes is slowly improving, but I think with the magnitude that Epic is and how massive the company is, it somewhat seems like a joke that they cannot handle everything that they've created. And like Cypher said, they shouldn't be copying, they should be leading. Fortnite is behind. If one of your nicest, most positive content creators came out and said that it's not doing the greatest, people will finally come around and start to notice. I will stand at the mountaintop. I will be as high in the fucking air as I possibly need to. I was right, and all you motherfuckers can suck my dick besides people watching. But anyways, I appreciate all of you guys with the most recent support on videos. It's actually been great. The only thing I will say is I have a creator code, which is Bennjipie, all caps right here on the screen. And I do have a membership for YouTube stuff. If you guys want to support me in any way, those are your, you know, best options. But most importantly, watching the videos is the biggest help. So if you always watch until the end, thank you. I gotta go before someone on Twitter gets mad about this video. Oh shit, I already pissed them off. See you guys.